All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to what is maybe the first edition of many of a thing I'm calling Miren Meetup, Miren Matchup. I don't know. We got to figure out the name still. Today, I'm joined by Thorsten Ball and Quinn Slack of AMP. Thorsten, give yourself a little intro. What do you want to tell the people about yourself?
I'm Thorsten. I'm one of the co-creators and co-founders of AMP. I've spent an unreasonable amount of tokens in the last 1.5 years. I don't know how many tokens it is, but it was a lot. Before that, I worked on Zed, a text editor. Before that, I worked on SourceGraph. Along the way, before we co-created AMP, I think I became pretty AI pilled, as they say. And I think we were one of the first ones to create coding agents. And I've been pretty much on this roller coaster for the last 1.5 or 2 years.
Amazing. Quinn?
Yeah, I started SourceGraph, got to know Thorsten there, and then we and a bunch of other crazy people here on the AMP team, we started AMP. And I have been a developer all my life. I mean, Evan, I know your stuff from, a while ago when it was simpler times. And
Ditto.
There's nowhere that I'd rather be than just seeing where the frontier is going with agents and how they're changing like everyone's lives, but software development specifically and first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to go through this and just to talk to you both today about AMP because I feel like, well, okay, so here's maybe a small little history here. AMP predates Quad Code by how much? Because I know it does, because I used AMP before Claude Code came out.
It didn't. We had AMP before Claude Code was released.
Okay.
But they were first to release. But then we were like 3 weeks after, something like this. Like 3 weeks, 4 weeks after. Yeah.
Okay. So it's like almost simultaneous. Yeah.
We had that magical moment, when you give an agent tools and you just let it go. We had that magical moment in early February, late January of 2025.
Okay.
And I think everyone has had that magical moment now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a great segue into let's try to make a new magical moment here, and let's see AMP deploying to Miren. You like that segue? That is just off the top of the dome. All right. Let's do it. So, I have a demo cluster for us set up to deploy to. Do you have an app that you want to deploy to it, or should we do a to-do app?
Do I have an app?
What is something that you've always wanted? Like,
like a static page or like something?
Whatever could be anything. Could be a live thing. Maybe you were saying that you feel like your token count's really high, so maybe we want to make a lifetime token leaderboard app where people can submit what they think their lifetime token spent is. That's just a silly idea that just came off the top of the head.
Wait a second. What else? There could be something neat.
You can build anything in the world.
You can build. This is the problem now. Like I love this. Like I love to build things, and now it's like you just build things. Just to build things. It's just so much fun. You're really overthinking it now.
Okay. Let me quickly check what my last projects are here that I modified. Let's build. We could do like a agentic. I don't know. Let's build like an agentic to-do app. We can start easy, like a normal to-do app, but then it's like an agentic thing where you say like, here's whatever text, audio, whatever.
So we're kind of
talks to an agent. All right.
Okay, great. So let's do this. I realize that we need to get you a Miren Cloud account, which you probably don't have yet.
What do I need to sign up?
So go to Miren Cloud. And if you want, you could share the window while you do that if you want, instead of the AMP one.
Yeah. So just Miren.dev.
Miren.cloud.
Miren.cloud. All right, let me share.
What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, Miren Cloud is our app. So basically, like we have a control plane that lives on the internet that basically helps coordinate applications, and that's actually what we're going to use today. So I have a cluster all set up, and in order for me to give you access to that cluster, I'm just going to basically assign it to you, and then you'll have access to it. And that way,
Cool.
but it still lives somewhere else. It doesn't live inside a hosted thing that we run. I have a demo cluster that I get demo setup that I have. But if it was just your own cluster, it would be running wherever you wanted. All right, great. You're logged in. Okay. So what I'm going to do is leave that page up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go add you to this this organization called AMP Demo. Just give me 1 second here.
I'm going to made an organization. Can I join yours?
Absolutely. Yeah. Here.
All right.
Here, I'm gonna drop the link to this in. Let's see. You have access to the note? Do you see the notes thing on the right side? Oh wait, maybe not. Let me see here. Oh. All right, I'm gonna send you a quick email, both just to make this simple, with the invite link.
Mm-hmm.
Go. You'll go see the invite link.
All right, I'll stop sharing.
Wait, why is this showing a weird use? Oh, wait, help.
Got it.
What did you get? Is it? I got only my Miren Cloud. I logged in with my private email thing.
Oh, okay. Did it not work? Let me generate. You're already in. Did yours not work then?
Oh, I think I can. Yeah. I got invalid or expired invitation.
Okay, great. I sent you another one. Check your email again.
Right. Okay.
I'd forgotten that they're one use. That's good. That's a security feature.
That's true. Let's see.
This is what I mean. We're gonna stumble through this. We're gonna get there.
Okay. Where is it? I got it. I'm joining. You've been invited. AMP demo. Accept invitation. Continue to org. I'm in.
Okay, great.
I'm in.
So you both are now in there, and if you click on clusters, if you want to share your screen again where you were there, Thorsten, you'll see that you have access to a cluster now.
Share screen. I'm going to share this.
Just your browser.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Yep. So now if you click on view clusters.
Found.
Reload that page. I don't know why that's being
okay.
There you go. So now, so you've got access to this cluster called AMP Demo.
Yes.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over and we're just going to tell AMP to deploy to this cluster.
Okay. Should we need to create the app first, right?
Yeah, let's create a new project. Yeah.
Is it does it need to be, can we do AMP hosted repo?
You can do it any way you want. It doesn't, it's actually not related to Git at all.
All right. So then let me create this new orb to do app and say, get me a little to do app in, what should we use? Whatever types, JavaScript. It has a nice front end and safe stuff to SQLite. Is that fine, or do we need?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
All right, let's do this. So now, let's see. We're also demoing our stuff live here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, how has while this churns a little bit, how do you think that I noticed you guys have been going, I love the, it shouldn't take 10 hours to fix this bug. There, I fixed it in 10 minutes, kind of we're just writing this thing live while you all watch. Has that, I personally love that kind of thing. Has that been going well for you all? Is that nerve-wracking to feel like you're right on the edge, or?
What do you mean? Like when you fix?
Oh, just that, it's it's a organic being. It's an organic project. You're like, we're just changing it, and we're in there with everybody, and we're working on it. And
oh yeah. I think that's working fine. I don't know what's going on here, but I think in general for us it's working fine. This is now doing its thing. I also kicked off another thing here, where I have like a little. I have like an archive of my newsletter, which is, I don't even know what it is. I think some JavaScript and whatnot. Yeah, so now we have like 3 orbs racing each other. This is
Okay,
creating
great.
a to-do
I
app.
was going to ask, are these running in 3 different orbs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Each orb is tied to a different thread. So these are different.
Okay.
Like if you see these 4 up here, like I parked these, I pinned these. That's different machines with different state that I can come back to, right? And investigate and whatnot. Yeah.
Gotcha. So is it always one thread to one orb, or is there?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you can spawn sub threads if you want, but I do think there's a power in like having, like an ephemeral sandbox per thread, per thing that you want to do. We do allow, you can connect the machine, like your local CLI instance, for example, or like the headless mode. And then you have like a persistent machine in which you can do, many threads if you want, but then it's up to you to manage state. But what we found is it's pretty handy to have separate, like to say like this conversation and that state here is one packaged thing. It's one orb or thread. And this here, that's a separate thing. And it's powerful. Like you can, you can come back to it. That we have compaction. It can potentially run for a really long time.
Yep.
It can, run a lot of stuff. Yesterday, for example, just because I think you'll like this.
Yeah.
Tim, who's on our team, he wrote. I think 2 days ago, he posted a message in our Slack and said like, "Oh, I shipped something that allows AMP to hot reload plugins. So if you ask AMP to build a plugin, it can load it into itself." All right. Cool. So that was his message on, I think Friday or whatever, on weekend hacking. I don't know. And then yesterday, what he said was he started an orb and then said, "Hey, we don't have a Discord bot. Can you build an AMP plugin to act, to receive messages over Discord?" So it wrote an AMP plugin, loaded it into itself, and then it just ran inside the orb. Amazing. It kept running, and then he talked to the Discord thing over this little thing that he now had running. And
that's perfect.
Yeah, it starts a lot of philosophical questions about the nature of software. What are we even?
It really, I mean, like, I think we're very much on the precipice of like really being like, how does it feel to develop software? And like,
But there you go. Look at this. So this is serving from the orb. So we haven't production deployed it, right?
Right.
So here, whatever, lunch. So this seems to work.
Great. So let's deploy this to your new cluster now.
All right.
So here, the thing I had best with is, so we've got a whole set of skills that AMP can just read fine. So if you say like, go install the Miren skills, which are github.com/ github.com. Yeah.
Let me do this. There you go.
Should be, I don't know why. Yeah, just search for skills in the repos. Yeah, that top one.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so if you just tell AMP to go install that.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we'll just basically tell it to deploy, and it'll have it let it work its way through.
Nice. How often do, I guess, 4 months ago. So this is like basic stuff that points at other resources, or how does it work?
Yeah. So what it does is, so we have integrated very closely into our the docs on our website and in the CLI the exact same help. So we actually generate, like, Miren.md is where the help, all the actual documentation for how to use the tool are. And the skill basically says how to access the help. There's a whole help sub command, how to install the CLI. And so what we find is that rather than having to like constantly be updating the skill, that just by having the skill defer to the CLI, that skill just basically all of a sudden can pick up brand new functionality. And we tweak it every once in a while. Like we'll say, hey, like if the deploy doesn't go well, look at logs right away. Like we'll direct it a little bit, but we don't have to explain the CLI, the actual API at all.
Yeah. So this is now, it's send off this librarian to research the repo. I guess I
Great.
could have just said, just clone the repo.
Yeah.
But it now comes back with this. So I don't know. I'm also noticing just, it seems like the model providers is pretty slow, the token streaming. So that's another, I don't know if that played into what we saw earlier, but.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
There's something going on.
Librarian is very verbose here with what to do.
Yeah, so that's okay. So app health class. So you have different. Okay, I see. So it's a pack of skills, right? You have 4 different skills.
Yeah. So it's like how to set up an app and how to use the actual Miren CLI, and then how to check for health. So when you're like, hey, this thing isn't working, can you go figure it out? It's got a whole different set of skills. Like, use these sorts of tools in order to figure that out.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so it's going to clone them, and then it's just going to read the markdown files. Let's see what it does after that. I don't know if we do hot reloading of skills, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it worked fine last night.
Oh, yeah.
So,
nice. Yeah. All right. So should I then say you deploy to this cluster, or?
Yeah, so what you'll say is deploy to the AMP demo cluster in the AMP demo organization.
Okay. Okay. All right. I want you to deploy to the AMP demo cluster in the.
I would say Miren AMP demo.
Okay.
Org. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the AMP demo. Yeah.
This one here, like this.
You can just say AMP demo. You can just say AMP demo. AMP demo. Yeah.
In the. Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Great.
Okay. Yeah.
And this orb runs AMP, the regular version, the CLI version of AMP you have inside the orb, so that way, like, do those upgrade often? I imagine you upgrade, you have new versions of the actual CLI pretty often too.
Yeah. So the orb goes to sleep after, I think, 5 minutes of inactivity or something, like when nothing's there to be done and nobody in the browser, we can detect no activity, goes to sleep. And then whenever you request it again, it tries to update it. It checks what it needs to update itself. And
we're doing better stuff now.
Oh, we do?
When it's running and idle, it updates so that hopefully then it doesn't need to, block you when you're waiting for it to resume.
Okay. Oh, nice. So we're actually trying to see if it's idle and then restart itself and update.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. And it's just like, obviously it's not running this AMP, like the full TUI AMP, but it's the headless version of it. And that just connects to our infra and then says like, here, I'm in this orb, I'm available. Yeah. So it's now trying to log in, authentication.
Okay, great. Okay, so I opened that. There you go. Perfect. Click on that and authorize. And now go back over. And now I had to prompt it to say, hey, I authorized it, even though AMP thought, oh, I'm watching it.
It's our async.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it checks on the command, right? And now it can.
So now you're all logged in.
Okay, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that this worked, to be honest. I mean, I don't know why I would think it wouldn't work, but it's pretty good.
But it is still amazing to watch it work. Yeah. So now what it's going to do is it's got all the skills. So it's going to basically figure out like, okay, great. I need to go add that cluster in. And if you click on the commands that it ran, you'll see it in there probably. Yep. So it's initializing it. And now it's basically editing the app.toml, which is like the basic description of the app. Yeah. And now it ran the analyze just to make sure that everything looks good. And now it's gonna go ahead and deploy it. There you go.
Wow. I don't want to go on a tangent. I guess I kind of do, but when you see this, do you then think, oh, I need to optimize this so it's one command? You know what like I think I often look at like this output and you see 10 commands and you go like, yeah, it figures it out. Like, like at the end it will get there. Like, when you see this now, do you think, oh, I could have done this better or something?
It's a great question. I think I do think about it all the time, but I think about it less in a like, should there be one mega command, and more in a like, what is the steering to get the agent to use that, because we've tried that before, where you like, I have one mega command that just does the right thing, and then it's like, look, a help. Oh, let me go find it over here, and it like kind of just ignores that steering. And so what we have really kind of like landed on is that what we like is the ability for that the CLI should feel natural to a person, and if it feels natural to a person, then it feels pretty natural to the actual LLMs. Them being trained on human patterns. So this is a really great thing I wanted to highlight really fast, which is it's deploying, and we did it in SQLite. And so in order for the SQLite to be actually not destroyed every single time we do a deploy, it figured out, oh, great, I need to put this in the special location, the special path that persists across.
Nice. So that's the data thing. And so every time that's so multiple deploys would access this, like if we deploy.
Yes. Right. Okay. So remember, all of this is on just a single server. So that is a special path that basically lives throughout different deploys. Instead of it being inside a container, it's just a mounted volume that comes from the host.
Yeah. And this is the whole description. Oh, so that's the disks. And then this is the path. Okay.
Yep.
Concurrency and envars. Yeah. That's pretty simple. And then that, I assume that means web is the name, and then you can have multiple services.
We came directly from Heroku, and so we call it web by default. Okay. And there we go. We're all deployed. So go ahead and give it some things. And now reload it. Make sure that the SQLite database. Hey, look at that.
That's nice. That was quick.
And so, what do we want to add to it, real fast? Do you want to add a image upload? Do you want to add? Do you want to have it? Automatically know that on Wednesday you need to be sure that your bike is washed. Like, what do you want to do?
Let's add due dates, right? Can we say due dates or something?
Yeah. So just say like add due dates and deploy it, or whatever you want to do.
Okay. So that was how did it? So it just calls Miren deploy. Mm-hmm. Cluster application.
Yeah, it actually didn't even need to do all of that because a normal human would basically use the default. So you added there's only one cluster, so you didn't need to do the cluster. And you're actually inside the apps directory, so you didn't really need to specify the app. But what I found is that most of the models want to be really explicit about those command line options, which is fine, and no problem with that.
So then here I see it.
So we haven't rolled that out yet. So right now, if you go back, if you see on clusters, you click on clusters. See, we just have workloads 1. What we're doing right now is we're actually working on exposing the information about the applications up into Miren Cloud. But because it is separate, Miren Cloud doesn't have anything to do with your application. It's not in the loop at all. It's basically Miren Cloud is a way of getting authorization and cluster discovery right now. Eventually, we're going to basically surface more information upward, but it is separate because you might be running your cluster behind a firewall and you don't, nothing's going to touch it. All this stuff works fine, even in that case. So,
okay, Quinn, are you hacking up an amazing application in the background that we can then also deploy?
Oh, I got some. I'll do that too.
Okay.
I was just looking into the production issue, and they eventually went through. After like 50 seconds, which is terrible.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But I think it was just primarily you and me affected.
It's because we're recording a thing. That's just that's how that works.
Of course. So Miren.dev is, how do I think about it? Like, that's my deployment. That's the tool, the mechanism, and Miren Cloud is one target of this.
So when we set out, when we were originally building it, we're like, we want to build a self-hosted deployment platform. We want it to be able to run wherever people need it to be able to run.
Yeah.
But we also wanted it to be easy to collaborate. So if you had two people both working on this thing, no matter where it's deployed, we wanted the collaboration story to be really well thought out. And I've set up 1 million. I don't know about the two of you, but I've set up like so many self-hosted Kubernetes clusters. And what you end up doing is like, hey, here's a giant YAML file for you to connect to it. Like, please don't lose this. Also, it's got all the credentials in it. And if you leak this, everybody can connect to our cluster, right?
Yeah.
And setting up like actual like proper authentication and stuff like that is possible, but it's pretty awful. And what I wanted to do at the very beginning was, even though the clusters were distinct and running somewhere else, I still wanted to have a authentication and a like a collaboration that felt like it was a managed service. And so basically, there you go. We got due dates.
That's crazy.
And
everything is crazy here. Like that is
So what
we're all old enough to remember that this was like the standard JavaScript framework thing, and now it's just write me this.
Write me this. I got and move on with my day. Yeah. So Miren Cloud is basically a way for us for you to coordinate clusters that run wherever you want to run them, and we think that's basically the way we think of it. So your deployment, the actual serving of the application, all that kind of stuff, just touches the cluster. It doesn't touch Miren Cloud at all.
Interesting.
So after you updated the code in the application, what did it do to build it and then ship it over to Miren?
It says
it just ran deploy.
And then this is health check, I assume?
Yeah, I think lots of times what I found is that the models want to do their own health checks. And so they'll basically they'll hand code. They're really showing off with Bash is what I'm saying. They'll basically hand code a thing where they're like, hey, I see we got JQ and we got all this stuff. I'm going to do a thing.
Node,
Or running it through Node. Exactly right. And then again,
you're also showing off your top level domains, no?
Yeah. So let me talk a little bit about that. We breezed right over that. So one of the things that when we were working on it, we're like, okay, well, the first thing people need in this whole, when you're setting it up, is an actual domain. And so what we decided to do was we were going to provide DNS for every single cluster, no matter where it may be, automatically. And so that long name at the top, you can see to-do-app is the cluster dot, and then an awful name. It's supposed to be awful. .miren.systems. When the cluster checks in with Miren Cloud, which is an optional thing, but when it does it, what we do automatically is like, okay, great, I'm going to set up DNS for you. And so the cluster will say, hey, here's my IP addresses. And it's like, okay, great. So we basically maintain DNS sort of for free as a service for all of the clusters to be able to use. But let's actually, I have a better domain name that we can use. So let's go back over here. Go ahead and tell it that you
here. Yeah,
tell it here that you want the app to also be available as to-dos dot amp demo dot clusters
amp demo dot clusters
dot Miren dot run.
You got just to keep track. You got Miren Run.
Oh, we got a lot.
You got
Miren Dev, Miren Cloud, Miren Systems, Miren Run. What else do you
Miren
have?
MD,
Miren Email. I got Miren AI. I got Miren App. Like actually, like Paul, one of my engineers, joked that I started the company just so to have an excuse to buy a bunch of domain names, and he's not wrong. He's not
wrong.
You
need an excuse to do that. That's just life.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh, this is because. Oh. Is it because I added my sub?
Yeah, you get that sometimes. It usually resumes.
Yeah, I think it's going to resume.
Yeah.
There you go.
So this clusters.miren.run is a demo domain. It's basically a domain. We have a demo, a setup that way I can launch demo clusters, and they automatically get DNS inside that demo cluster. And so this is just an example of showing like what does it look like to show routes. So go ahead and click on that link now.
That's pretty good, yeah.
And now we're at it's the same app. It's basically just we have taught the actual ingress on the cluster that like, hey, this app has multiple different names now. And if you wanted to go buy a domain right now, Thorsten's PocketTask.com, we could also basically just tell this, hey, this is where it is, and you should serve that
and
as
it
well.
figures it out. So here it does like route set, route show. What does this return? Okay,
it double checking it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's pretty fast. It reminds me of I guess it's done. I mean, I haven't looked at the code. Let's quickly check. DB server. So it does have an API, and it's just a server, like a node server. It does feel like how it would deploy to Netlify. GitHub Pages or whatever it is. Like
exactly right. That's the way it should feel. Yeah, that's the way it should feel.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't have this in AMP today, maybe in the future, but like one of the ways if you deploy from like GitHub Actions, you can actually tell the cluster, hey, you're going to get requests from GitHub Actions, and I want you to go ahead and automatically allow them. And what we actually do is we use the OADC token that's available inside GitHub Actions to authenticate requests from GitHub Actions to your cluster, wherever it might be. And so that way, the actual thing doesn't even need to run Miren login. It basically just automatically does a deploy and picks up the GitHub OADC token and submits that as the login material. And the cluster will be like, oh yeah, I was told to allow for this. Great, we're all good. And so then you're one fewer steps even. So
I see. How do you think about like these applications and clusters? Like, do you imagine people have just one of them, or do you imagine like that old use case for Kubernetes where every pull request has a separate URL, or Vercel does this. Is this kind of what you have in mind too, where it's so easy to spawn up a new thing? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We have that. So we call this ephemeral deploys. And what they do is when you do Miren deploy, if you do -- ephemeral, and then you give it a name, usually people do like PR dash a number, but you can do whatever you want. What that does is that actually it deploys to the end server, but it just holds the actual deployed material. And then because we have all these HTTP routes already set up, it automatically sets up a subdomain underneath there. So if I called this PR1 for our to-do app, I could go access pr1.todos.ampdemo.clusters.miren.run. In other words, just put the label on the front there, and then it would just be able to serve it. And again, that is the power of having just a cluster that I can deploy stuff to. For instance, if Quinn has an app for us to deploy, he can just go and do a login and basically deploy to this same cluster, and it all just works because you've got a cluster now to just deploy to. Instead of having to think about everything in the app context, it's like you've got just compute and a deployment target.
Interesting. And I noticed, deploy, I guess, uploads the code.
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So we didn't want it to be tied to like, oh, I got to do a dance in order to deploy to GitHub and in order to Git server and all that kind of stuff. We wanted it to feel like, hey, I wanted to deploy this thing. In fact, it's one of we have Paul wrote a great blog post about it on our blog. It's actually really fun because it kind of captures this moment where I'm like, actually, like, I'm writing a thing for myself. I just want to deploy it. Like, I just want the life cycle of me writing and deploying to be really tight right here. And in order to make that tight, you need to just do all of the steps right there.
Yeah.
So if I am, a client somewhere, how many hops are there between me and my app running on Miren?
Well, it depends entirely where you run your cluster. If you're running your cluster, like let's say you booted up a cluster inside GCP, it's basically directly from your client to GCP. It doesn't go through any Miren infrastructure at all.
Cool, that's nice. And how do you think about when like the live, local, or agent dev environment versus like the deployed app?
I mean, it's such I think we're all trying to figure out the answer to that question a little bit, right? Because like, I think there's an answer for the tiny app, the like sort of trivial app. And I think that the that one right now is like, well, I could easily run this on localhost. So I just ran it on localhost, and the agent runs it on localhost, in the background, and it tests the thing, and it goes off and does a thing. And I think it gets more complicated as the app gets more complicated, right? You're like, oh, I needed this thing uses RabbitMQ. Am I running RabbitMQ locally? And where do I run this other thing? And so the way that we think about it is actually that the clusters should be the same, and you just run multiple of them. So if you're like, hey, you know what, we've got a production cluster, it runs our production stuff, let's just set up another machine somewhere, and let's just tell the agent, just deploy to the agent cluster, go to town, like, don't worry about it, and deploy to that one. And then once you really you're like, okay, great, that looks good, now go to deploy to production. But the great part is that those are two equals. Like the APIs for those are exactly the same. You just set it up on maybe, like one of the things I like to do is behind that bookshelf is a closet back there. I run a cluster locally on a machine in the closet, and I basically tell from my laptop, I'll say like, hey, deploy locally, see if it works out. When it works out, great, now deploy it to production. I don't pay for that. I pay power, but like I'm not paying cloud bills. I just have a server that I can run. And that was one of the thesis of this. It's like sometimes you kind of just want staging to be the old server in the office closet. Yeah. Right. So
that's cool. Yeah. So that makes sense for a lot of the other stuff. But what about like the live reloading dev server where you want the agent to be able to make a change and immediately see it? Like, are you trying to solve for that with Miren as well?
Not right now. I think what we want to be able to do is we really want, so the solve for the auto reload is basically that the development lifecycle of change and check is just really small, right? That's the whole reason to do live reloading, right? Because I want to write the code, see if the code worked. I don't write the code, I want to see if the code worked. Where we want to get to is basically we want to optimize the deploy process so that we actually solve it by just doing the deploy super fast. So like one of the features that we put in recently was like, we do a differential between the files on the server and the files that you have locally, and we only send up whatever files you changed. So if you have a big PDF in there and you type deploy, it'll basically be like, that PDF has not changed. I'm not going to send it to you again, right? And so what we're trying to do is just really get that as narrow and narrower and narrower and narrower, really optimize that deployment process so that we achieve effectively the same result, but without having to, but on any stack. That was be the other thing, right? Live reloads are so stack dependent, and if we can make the deploy process just that much faster and faster and faster and faster by really optimizing it, then we can kind of solve it for all stacks. So that's kind of the way that we look at it.
Yeah, like the agent doesn't care about the difference between like 3 milliseconds latency and like 2 seconds latency, maybe,
right?
In some cases, because the tokens are slow anyway.
Yeah. One thing we didn't highlight is that we didn't build a container image. We didn't do anything. The orbs, I don't.
Yeah, I was looking for a Docker file. I saw that here in here it deployed it, right? Did it here? In deploy, you can see it looks like Docker. I think it's Docker, right?
It is. It's running inside BuildKit, but it's running inside BuildKit on the server. And that was a really important thing because we wanted the build process to be the same and not be dependent upon someone actually doing the build locally. Because if you do the build locally, then you have to get an artifact to the server, and then then it's just one more step of figuring out OCI registries and all that kind of stuff. And so we just like forget all of that. You give us the code and we'll just do the right thing.
Let me try this.
So did you do like a 90s theme on this?
Actually, I said make it weirder and funner, like amco.com style. I don't know if it read the webpage and then it came back with this. It's not saying amco.com, but I
love it. By the way, speaking of interesting visuals, I have to give you two shout outs. I absolutely love the ASCII orb and the ASCII logos that are inside AMP. Just chef's kiss. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the dial today. Because I love the dial. I'm a big fan. I miss
Show the dial, Thorsten. Get the dial up on the screen.
I miss the days of skeuomorphic iOS. I want the YouTube icon to look like a TV from the 1940s, like that.
So wait a second. Are you talking about this dial, which I can reveal, or are you talking about the TUI dial?
Oh, this is a TUI dial. I'm talking about this dial. I didn't know there was
okay, let's reveal this. So this is the dial.
I love this.
And I don't know if the sound is coming through, but there is sound. And if you go to Ultra, you know,
I don't think
there's like a little sound, and then this now gives you like it's like a THX sound in small when you select it. And it's people really like. We shipped this last 5 days ago, 6 days ago, or something like this. And I said this a bunch of times already. I wasn't involved. I only contributed the name The Dial, which doesn't show up here. But I was like, Quinn proposed, I think, the original idea of how about we have like a linear thing, you know, like just a dial.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds cool to me because I was stuck in deep mode and AMP's deep mode. And I don't care about other models really. And so then they shipped this and I found myself already typing a prompt. And I was like, is this high? I think I can go medium. And then for some things where I do like a search and replace or whatever, I go, this is low. Like I don't need, this can be low. And then overnight, I think there's like this thread, which I can mark as unread actually, which I shipped with this very dial on Saturday, the mark as unread feature. So then I spawn some things overnight and I use Ultra, which is, Fable 5 high with GPT 5.6, but 5.6 is it's pretty good. 5.6 Sol. And that's a dial, but I want to show you
I want to see the TUI dial.
TUI version. So let me reshare here. Stop sharing and then share screen. And then I'm gonna share.
A lot of people don't know what skeuomorphic means.
But that's
whole Scott Forstall, Apple, iOS, iPhone.
Exactly. It's the idea that the digital thing matches the concept of the physical thing that it represents. So like the Notes app inside iOS used to be leather bound, and you're like, why would it be leather bound? It's because they were trying to tell you, hey, this is for notes, and you take notes in leather bound books, right? And so
so that's I think what was the other example? They had like the contacts. Some of them had like a
it was
binder.
like a Rolodex.
Rolodex. So we know this orb, right? Like there's variations of this orb, by the way, with different. But this is pretty good. And then this is the dial. If I hit Control S, you will see this dial here. Look.
Oh.
Yeah. And the orb changes the colors according to the mode. Ultra has this, low has this, medium, and it feels pretty good. And some people call it bike shedding, but it wasn't. Like there were different versions of this, and I think this now feels pretty good. And I think that you can switch back to plugins and.
Right. Yeah. I think that you will know this as people use it, but like, those are I would bet that you will find people changing their mode a lot more often now than they did before because they're like, oh, it's easier to understand, but also I kind of like feeling like my Sony receiver is going up a notch here. Right. So
we do have, let me share this. It's live, right? The model thing, Quinn, let me share this. So if I share window, so we're back here to do app. Let's quickly check this. So sorry, it's okay. It said it added orbs. It's just added a thing with orbs on it. Okay. Fair enough.
I love it.
Orb says shift. Okay. Okay.
Amazing.
Right. Orb control. Okay. Let the agents cook. Ship the thing. Orb go. All right. But we have here Amco.com models. This was shipped via an orb here. This thing. Which modes are people using? So this is everybody.
Amazing. I was just going to ask about this. Yeah.
So this is medium. I guess is the most. I don't know if it changed here. You can see this is the weekend people start more high and ultra threads over the weekend, maybe, to keep long running tasks. And obviously the AMP team seems more balanced, maybe. Oh, I didn't know that this highlights this. Yeah. But the weird, it's not weird actually, but you know how last year I stood on stage somewhere and said like the text editor is dead, and people were kind of chuckling at it. Yeah, I don't think anybody would laugh at this now. Then at the start of the year, we published this blog post saying the coding agent is dead, and what we meant was the coding agent as this thing that you have a one-on-one relationship with. It lives in the sidebar of your editor. You manage its skills and the custom slash commands, and like that whole thing where it was like a unique thing. My agent is super custom. We said this is also over. Like the models are getting too good. They want to break out of the local assistant thing. We've seen it, right? They're in orbs and whatnot, and they don't care. Like I ask it here, can you give me a screenshot? And it says absolutely, and then it just installs Playwright. It does not care. Like
I love it. I've seen you post these. Like, hey, like I asked it for a screenshot, and it's like, oh, okay, great. Hold on. Let me just basically figure out. This is Linux, so I've got it.
Yeah, it can figure. The agents will find a way, and I think the point now is we shipped the dial last week, and usually people or users of AMP, they're pretty used to us ripping features out, but they still complain sometimes. They're like, why did you take this away? I get it, but why did you? Well, how could you do this to me? But we shipped the dial. That means we switched everybody from, like Opus or whatever they were on to like this new dial, and not a single person complained. Not a single person really, like, not a single email. And our verdict is the text editor was dead, then the coding agent, and we think the model is that, like, the model as like the thing that you truly care about after a certain level. Like I
actually love
like
I mean, I thought about it. I definitely have been following as you guys have been like changing the models, and there is very much I agree with the premise here that figuring out, is GLM 5.2 the one I should use, or is like, GPT 5.6 Terra the one I should use? That's a thing that some people will really want to dive into. They'll want to know. They'll want to run it through SWT bench, and they'll want to do all of the things in order to figure that out. But I would venture that from a daily perspective, people actually don't care. They actually want someone else. Like that's a little bit the philosophy of Miren, which is that they kind of want the wisdom of people who have basically lived through all the pain to basically say like, this is, look, 90% of the time, this is the decisions you're going to want to make. And so I definitely applaud you doing that same thing, which is like, you know what, like we're going to change. You should just leave it on high, and we will figure it out.
It changed a lot where there's always a lot of people that say, I want AMP to decide. I trust AMP. But there were differences between the model. I think what's different now is it is just, getting so much harder, even for the people that really care, that want to choose their models, to even notice. And that is something in the last week. I mean, when we switched basically all the traffic from Opus as the main model to GPT 5.6, nobody complained. And the product also got 50% cheaper for everyone.
Amazing.
And it might be that there's, cheap enough models that have reached a level where humans struggle to see the difference between them. And there might be a weird gap where what is model differentiation going to look like in this period where it's gotten so good that most professional devs that are really smart don't care between the two. And there's probably another level that they can reach where we will truly notice, but that's the kind of thing, when you stare up at the sky and the stars and your head hurts, it's hard to see, beyond that. But we're in a weird period.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. I think that like, I always knew that like, as with every technology, like it's going to make these big leaps and then we're going to reach some asymptote. eventually, right? And I think
Yeah.
that like the last iteration of agents, the last few months, are starting to be like these kind of starting to feel this very similar in terms of their capabilities. But I think that's also because it's the kind of problems that we're applying them to that are just like, yeah, they're all kind of good at those same sorts of problems. I'll give you an example. Thorsten, you'll love this. Over the weekend, one of the things as a consummate person who writes code is I will get like coder's block, and I'd be like, what I used to do was start a weird new side project, and now I still do that, but now I basically go do it with my agent. So what did I
Yeah.
do over the weekend? I was like, I want to write. Let's write a replacement for LLVM. Let's write a brand new code generation. I want to write an SSA framework. I want to do all this stuff in order to basically generate new code. And I didn't. I just left it on. I just did this in Claude Code. I left it on Opus. I didn't go into Fable 5, and it was like, oh, I will integrate all of the latest algorithms into this thing. And I was like, great. Like, in many ways, I have used Fable 5 for a couple of things, but for the most part, I can't tell the difference between it and Opus under normal circumstances, except in the case of like, I think I had one where it was, I need you to read through this giant code base to find this particular bug. Like, I need you to actually like just have a massive context and sort them through. But under normal circumstances, even under, pretty weird circumstances, it's like, yeah, everything's good. I've got it.
Yeah. One thing I've been talking about is, the end game of this is you get a button that spawns a new John Carmack, but that John Carmack doesn't speak unless spoken to. And when you tell it something, it will do it. Like, it won't necessarily push back. And then what people have to realize is, say you're an engineer with 3 years of experience, and then somebody opens the door, comes into your office if you have one, and says, here's a button, you can spawn a John Carmack. And then the question is, okay, the engineer with 3 years of experience, what's he going to do with John Carmack? Maybe he'll find some things, John Carmack can do. Will he use him to his fullest? But then if the next model comes out and it's like, actually, this is John Carmack and Fabrice Billard combined into one with whatever sprinkled on top, 10 times as smart, will that person be able to use it? It's not like that thing comes in and jumps out of the screen and runs your life. You still need to prompt it. And
part of what you're saying is we're not all here doing rocket science. Like a lot of things that people want to write is like, I want to write this thing. It's got value, but it's like, it's not necessarily that complicated, but I need to, and I'm the expert in to-do apps. I don't need someone to figure out all the intricacies of to-do apps. I actually know what I want. I just need someone to go and execute on the thing that I have in my head already.
Yeah. I think
Evan,
somebody, go ahead.
Like for agents, what do you think is needed in like tooling or how people's workflows need to change for people to take the next like leap and letting the agents do more for them?
One of the things I did, I was just on vacation for a few weeks. And so before, I try not to do a bunch of work right before vacation because I hate leaving a bunch of work both for my team and for myself when I get back from vacation. So I kind of like ramp myself down right before. And so what I did in the ramp down right before I went on vacation was I started a bunch of weird little side projects of little random apps, little random microservices.
That's how you ramp down? You ramp down.
I'm a crazy person. Don't. Ask anybody. This is I famously, I'm Evan Phoenix, famous for starting a Ruby interpreter during my honeymoon. So that follows me everywhere. Anyway, so on that ramp down, the World Cup was just starting. So this is like a month ago. And so I was like, okay, I want a little app that has RPCs that can go give me World Cup information. And so I went off and wrote that. And the thing that after I got through what the apps are is not important to answer your question. But what I realized after I got about 3 in is these all live on my laptop. And that's not great. They're just like YOLO apps living in my home directory. And secondly, that I saw that you all added the ability to start a project inside AMP. And I think that is one of the most important things. I think that I want to see agents and the sort of the milieu around software be just easier to start, right? I think that like one of the agents as we have them today in most iterations are amazing at the middle of a project, but getting them good at the beginning in terms of like, how do I start this application? So in other words, like, do I have a good enough idea to start? Where am I going to put the code? Am I going to collaborate? Is this a throwaway? I think that like we're still sort of working on that as an industry. And I think that on the end of that is, how do I get this out of the agent? And that's sort of what we demoed here today. It's like, hey, you can have your agent just go deploy to Miren, and then it's out of your agent, right? So in other words, sometimes the agents are like, I want to write some code and then I want to push it somewhere, and then I want to just be like hands clean. But that's not the way I operate. I want to feel it. I want to do the change, and then I want to touch it. I want to play with it. I want to do whatever. And so the end of that software lifecycle of like, I've deployed it, it's a thing you can go use now, is also like critically important. And so I think that that's at least where I have felt the pain, is that the beginning and the end, because the agent in the middle, like when I'm in the flow of being like, add this and add that, add this and add that, it's just amazing. Right? It's all about how to get into that flow state in the middle, I think.
Yeah. Well, Evan, there are serious professional developers who would come and pat us on the head and say, oh, well, that's a cute idea, but most developers are working on existing projects. Most developers are working in an environment that is intricately configured, their local development environment. There's a team at their company that manages that. You can't just uproot that and bring that to a separate environment. And most developers are deploying to a very finely tuned cloud environment in their AWS. Yeah. People have certifications for this, Evan. So what are you saying? They're going to uproot all of that, and they're going to pat us on the head, and they're going to walk away and discuss. What would you say to those people?
I think that obviously absolutely exists, and I think that, but I don't think that is that started existing. That hasn't been the way it's been in memoriam, right? that methodology exists now because someone worked through it to figure out that was a good way of operating, and now organizations have fallen themselves into that groove. But we would be remiss if we basically said like, oh, we can't innovate on this anymore. We're done. Everybody go home. The best way to do this is to have a team of 8 security engineers figure out if my Kubernetes clusters are updated correctly. Like, then where we can't do anything more, we've reached the peak of civilization. Like, we would be remiss to do that. And so I think what I would say to them is like, if that's what works for you, fine. But I just want you to know that we're trying some other really cool stuff over here that maybe is a little bit better in terms of your individual happiness, A, and B, how much you can actually get out there. So when I meet, I'd love to hear your all's answer for this too. When I go talk to people who aren't in tech and they ask me, oh, you're the CEO of a company that's amazing, what do you do? And I have to think for a moment. I'm like, is this like, who am I speaking to? And I will say like, do you know tech at all? And they're like, no. And then I'll be like, okay, great. What I tell people is I help people make their dreams come true. Like, that's actually what I tell people, because at the end of the day, what people are trying to do is, we have software because humans have ideas in their brains and they want to see a thing come to fruition. They want to basically have a thing. It's no different than I have this idea for this amazing chair and I go build the chair and I have it. It's just that it happens that we're orchestrating software to do that, right? And the way in which you deliver that, imagine that we had, like, IKEA is huge because they changed the way that people who wanted to basically develop furniture could actually get that furniture to people, right? If they had basically said like, well, you know what, driving out to the country and looking in a shop for one person's furniture is the best we can ever do. We should never try to innovate on better ways to get people furniture ever again. We would, like, that would be ridiculous. We would never say that, right?
So I think we all agree, like, we see cracks in the old way of software development. Yeah. Where are you seeing the cracks? Like, what is it? What kind of customer are you seeing their eyes light up when they see Miren, or they're willing to change? Or what portion of their development are they willing to change it for?
I think that every time we go in to talk to somebody, and and Thorsten did it a little bit here earlier, which is just, hey, go deploy the thing, and they're like, oh, it deployed. Oh, I didn't have to do anything else. And you're like, no, you don't have to do anything else. It just did it the right way the first time. Like, what I find is that, like, maybe that's like such a low bar. Like, all you're providing them is that they don't have to think about it. That is enormous in my mind. The idea that they can just basically, like, they can develop and they can just get stuff out there, and they don't have to figure out how to write the extra config file or do the extra thing, that they can actually just express themselves and get the thing out there is huge for me. And every time I go to talk to people, that's the first thing they bring up. Oh, this is so easy. I can just deploy stuff. And I was like, yeah, you can just deploy stuff. You don't have to have a bunch of roadblocks. Yeah, it feels like, should I be checking with somebody or writing a bunch of config files? It's like, you can if you want, but you don't have to. And so
have agents changed how you approach this? Like,
oh yeah,
basically, because we were talking. You said this earlier. Like, the CLI should be good for human consumption, but I haven't consumed anything. All I see is, like, it worked for 30 seconds and it works.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Like, that to me is good. But I'm now, like, how's your thinking behind this? I guess you could have said, well, I come back to Kubernetes.
Yeah.
I know my agent helps me do Kubernetes. I go, like, how do I restart this pod or whatever? Sure. And it does it for me and tells me the thing. Like, how do you think about this with deployments?
Yeah. So it's sort of two things, right? I think the first one is that if we were having this conversation a year ago, we probably would have said MCP a lot earlier than we're saying it in this particular meeting, right?
Not us, but yeah,
the larger conversation, right? And I think that the conversation around MCP existed because the models were at a certain level of capability and a certain level of maturity, and it felt like, how do we get stuff? How do we inject stuff into there? It was just the question that was being asked, and it was one of the solutions that was being put forward. And I think that back to this idea that, like, a lot of these models are reaching sort of like a complexity capabilities asymptote. They are all trained on all of these APIs, right? Like, we see it running at MPX right now. It's trained on how to use MPX. It has seen a million examples of MPX, right? And so it's trained on that because the developers of Node were like, hey, MPX should work like this because that makes sense. And they were thinking at the time that makes sense for a person. But what they found is that it also just happens to also make sense for the agent, right? And so I think that as time has gone on, those agents have just gotten they've gotten to the point where they just use the tools in the way that is ergonomic. And if we make our CLI, we make our things ergonomic, then it's ergonomic for an agent and it's ergonomic for the humans too. I want to see orb worms. Let's do it. Dirt protocol. Yes.
Ready to wriggle.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Is this like
it's like the Worms game where this is an old where you have to destroy the other team.
Yeah.
And I guess what's original with the cannons?
Yeah.
There you go. Boom.
Are you playing against an AI then?
No. No, come on.
Oh, you're playing both sides.
I'm playing all of them. Yeah. I just realized
you did really well. You're.
This is good. What is this? Like, why is this so pixelated? Is this a canvas?
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But
I mean, it deployed. I have a URL.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Hey, Evan, what do you think about, like, even what deployment means is changing? Like, xe.dev is a really cool example of maybe the agent execution environment is like the deployment environment.
Yes. So I've been watching it very carefully, and it feels, and I'll just date myself here, it feels like it felt in 2002. it feels like editing PHP on the server, and that was so much fun. It was so much fun to SSH into the server and that you were paying an exorbitant amount of money for, and edit the PHP, and then reload your web page and see it there and be like, oh, this is amazing. And I totally get it, because that was such an amazing feel, right? And I think that, again, it kind of boils down to this idea of like, what is the difference, the time change from your edit to what you get, right? And I think that we are trying to do it right now by basically shrinking that down. But I think that we're going to have to explore other avenues, because I think that this edit in production is a real way. And I suggest people do it. Like, if you're working on a thing and you're like, you know what, I don't know what this is, I just want to basically have a place for me to play and to work on it, you should do that. The larger thesis I have around this is that, like, when it took a week to write a new feature, it was okay if it took an hour to deploy it. Right? Because you were measuring that time differential, right? Oh, okay, great. It's a week versus an hour. Like, no problem. I can go to lunch and it'll be deployed. But there's a maximum amount of differential that you would allow for, right? And I think that if the feature takes an hour to write now and it takes an hour to deploy, you're out. I'm not interested. I'm not doing that anymore. Let alone if the feature takes 10 minutes and it takes an hour to deploy, you're definitely like, you have noped out of that long ago, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that is the thesis, is that there's a relationship between the amount of time it takes to write the thing and the amount of time it should take for you to experience the thing that you wrote, right? And the edit, exe.dev, and all of the sort of like sandboxes are another weird conversation here. Like, sandboxes and permanent sandboxes and are just a way of expressing that. And if people have applications that they're like, oh, I just wrote this thing, it's just for me, it lives on my server somewhere, it does this thing, I suggest you go and you use it. One of the things that we like by using Miren for this, instead of basically just writing all that stuff, is you install Miren on that same server, and then you basically tell Miren, hey, I want to use Postgres, and I want to use Redis, and I want to use all this other stuff, and we automatically launch that stuff for you, and we manage it, to the point that if you ever are like, you know what, actually, for us, this thing actually worked out. I actually really like it, and I want to put this on a bigger server. I want to put this on a cluster. I want to have other people work on it. Now you've got a very easy thing to extract and to go put somewhere else. You could have your agent do that too. But our hope is that we provide enough value above and beyond just the deployment, just like the quick deployment turnaround. We've got add-ons, we've got like route protection, which has like web application firewalls built in, all that kind of stuff that you can just turn on. So we think that like there's value in the system beyond just how fast does it take to deploy too.
But so that means you're saying that one of the fun things about XCDev or running stuff in orbs or FTP to production, whatnot, is that quick feedback loop, right? And that you modify the software as you use it. But you're saying, if I understand it correctly, it's if you make deployments fast enough, there's no difference. Like
Yeah.
I
mean, and I think that there's one of the things that's really interesting about this is that there is when you're having your agent write the feature, that sometimes I guess it becomes a question of, are you watching the code be written, right? And I think that like a year ago, everybody was basically running their agent and just sitting here and basically watching it. And I, myself included, right? I still do it a lot. But what I think people have found more or what I think people are doing more of, is they'll tell their agent, go add this thing, and then they will context switch. They're going to go talk on Slack. They're going to check their email, whatever. And so if it took 5 seconds to deploy that thing at the end instead of 500 milliseconds, they're not going to notice it because they've kind of context switched away, right? Yeah. And so when they come back to it, like, oh, it's ready. Great. Let me look at it. Oh, yep, looks fine. I'm going to move on with my day, right? So in some ways, the agent being autonomous in its turn makes it not as important, maybe, how much time it takes to deploy at the end.
Yeah.
What is the benefit of deploying, though? Why do we even need to deploy? Why not just run it in the sandbox and have people access that directly?
Yeah, I mean, the agents still make mistakes, so it's good to be able to go back to what you used to be able to do, right? So it's good to have a record of what you did
Yeah.
and be able to basically revert back. But
Yeah.
I
Well, they
think
can do
that,
source control, or you can ask the agent to revert.
yeah, you can for sure. I think that from my perspective, there's a class, there's just like classes of application where it makes sense where the development environment and the deployment environment are different, where they're two different places, right?
Yeah, but
Like,
what is that class? How do you define that?
I mean, I think it's. I don't think it's defined anymore in terms of size. I think it's determined. It's the author and what the application is meant to deliver, right? Like we have like Miren Cloud, which we experienced early on here, lives in a Miren cluster that we have deployed, right? And that I want to feel secure that we basically have taken time to basically be like, yep, this is what's on there, and now we want to basically get a determination. Yeah, let's go to deploy it. Like, so it's not continuously deployed, that we make a determination. Yep, it's ready to be deployed, because we also want to know what is up there, right? And when it's multiple people, and so maybe an easy one there is when it's multiple people, right? Like if you have more than 2 people SSH into a box and working on it, which I've done. I mean, I've done TMUC where everybody is in a TMUC session and we're all editing a thing there. It gets pretty gnarly pretty fast, right? So that would probably be the easy one when you've got more than one person working on the app. If I had to define classes, so
Nice.
well, should we
wrap it up?
Should we wrap it up here? Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been great. Thanks so much for your time, and yeah, it was super fun. I'll leave the cluster up there for you guys to play with. I can't wait to see what you.
My app is almost on Miren.
Oh, great! Should we wait? Should we see it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's wait.
2 more minutes.
Yeah, let's wait.
2 more minutes.
2 more minutes. Okay.
I'm gonna play my Worms game.
Yeah, let's wait. Here. Can you share again? Let's play your Worms game. While we wait.
I want to play it, and it should also fix the pixelated fonts.
Okay.
Let me see so here. By the way, it just deployed it, right? And it gave me a good URL.
It figured it out. That's the other thing is the agents are like, oh, great, I'll just do it the same as I did in the context. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess pixelated is the wrong word to use when you like you want this style of graphics. I don't know. It's like it's all pixel. Boom.
Quinn, I love that you're not telling us what it is. I can't wait to see what I'm trying to figure out. Is it going to be like a Minecraft clone? Is it going to be good? It's going to be good. Okay, don't say no more.
All right.
Yeah, so we need to make this multiplayer now.
That would be good. I guess does it work?
I don't know.
No, I guess it doesn't, right? Right again. You're right again. There you go. You're right again.
Do you because this ends up being a thing that pops up every once in a while on the internet, like do you publish your system prompt, the AMP system prompt?
No, the system prompt not. We do have like if you go now, when was the last big deep and rush Opus 4.6? I think this was June, so a month ago. Nico wrote this, and I think we put like a lot of stuff in there, like how we do the tools and whatnot, and we kind of he talked, I think it was in the other one, the new GPT 5.5, I think, where he talked about how it behaved differently, how you need to prompt it differently, but not the system prompt itself.
Okay.
It's it's not. Is it secret sauce? I don't know. It feels weird to say secret sauce when it's just text, but,
it's just right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but people sometimes say like, oh, I tried it with all the agents and yours got it right, and then obviously that's nice to hear, but then the skeptic in me goes, have you tried it multiple runs? Obviously it's undeterministic, and but I do think we're something where we're trying to be, one thing that the team is really like peculiar about is like nice markdown formatting, and like it should look good how it responds with text, and we put effort into this, for example, how it uses the tools, and that it shouldn't be what I think we've had this from the start. Do not ever use emojis in anything, like in the output. Don't go like too flowery and too long, and so trying some consistency in each mode. Like you got to go with the model. An Opus is never going to sound like a GPT model, or I guess now that they're converging a little bit, but back then at least. So now,
I mean, I was wondering, like, could you have a? I have a like one of the silly things that I have done is play with Suno, the audio AI generator, song generator, and one of the things I love to do is you go over to ChatGPT and you say, give me a Suno prompt to make a song that sounds like, and you give it the name of the song, and then we'll just give it to you. And I wonder, like, we're probably pretty close to that, where you can basically tell ChatGPT, give me a prompt to make ChatGPT sound like Opus at the beginning, and it will basically okay, great, cool. Like, I know how to do that.
Yeah, there's something I'll show real quick. I had, if I can find it, let's see. But I used something like this when there you go. Let me open this here.
Yeah. Well, Evan, a lot of people think like, oh, AMP is really good because of X. And a lot of the values of X that people, attribute to our genius are actually wrong. And it makes us a little uncomfortable. Like the system prompt, maybe there is a few times where our system prompt is better. Maybe that's, it's a little bit better, but it's not like that's the secret.
No. And that's why I asked a little bit, because I think people think that there is some magic in the system prompt. And like the people who are like, I have extracted the system prompts for all of these things, and here they are, and they put them on GitHub. And I think that like they're interesting, but they're not like groundbreaking ever.
So here's just on this example. We have this in our product to show, I was making
him beat his drum earlier.
Yeah, exactly. You can click it, play sounds, and I ask it to find this because I want to have 4 or 5 variations. Should be the same guy playing the trumpet, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, I can make 5 variations with different instruments. Should I use the Painter? And Painter is a tool that we have in an image model. I think right now it's Nano Banana too. And so that's this, you got one thing to prompt the other thing. So then it uses the Painter and it creates variations of this.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it can feed like images in as inputs. And then it says like, create a variation. And this was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, it's not technically crazy, but like, hey, like take this and create variations of this. Like, how cool is this? And then I said, I want a Gibson Flying V. And I think, it also created.
Amazing.
Good.
Yeah. Have you? I've always. I don't know the answer because I am not deep enough into this. Do you feel like there's ways of having the agents be able to give you an idea of how difficult the problem is, and therefore automatically manage the dial? So you'd be like, hey, go add this, that, and the other thing, and it's like, okay, great. Like, I probably don't need to. I'm gonna have this sub agent go do it, and I don't need to work very hard at it or whatever. Have you ever seen that? Have you played with that? Do you think that's useful?
I think the last time we honestly tried it was probably before AMP, where it's like, choose the right model, or like you get the user's input and then you try and route, like depending on this prompt, we route to different submodels or different things. And I think in a perfect world, people would write good prompts and then this could kind of work, but it's just, I think it's with like the average prompt, I think it's a no starter. Like the average prompt does not give you any insight into how difficult this is. And you need to run some inference. And then once you have some inference running and you get a grasp of the problem, then you can spawn other threads or sub agents, right? Which is then
Yeah.
this other thing. And we do have and have had it since July 4th last year, like the Oracle, which was back then big GPT model. So it was like this wise thing. So in that case, the agent would realize, oh, I need help from somebody smart, and it would do this. And so now, you know, with like the Fable and whatnot, they turn this around and they say, I can have implementers that are dumber than me and they do this work for me. How hard the problem is, I don't know. Like, I think it's a really hard problem to say in advance, like how hard the task is going to be. Like here, like even this, like, I think finding the assets is one thing, right? Like finding the assets for this thing. You can grab AMP Chronicle. Sure, it finds this. You can do this with low, but then creating variations of it doesn't seem that hard, but you need to, like, it writes these prompts, you know? I guess that's a bug here we should fix, but it writes these prompts. Like, how a dumb model, how good of prompts would it be able to write? Like, how creative would it be? Would it be able to, if I write a black Gibson Flying V and he needs to look like he's playing Master of Puppets, would a dumb model turn this into a good image? You know, I don't know. And who knows in advance?
But I also think, like, that is such a, like, it's just a small window, right? Like, even if you had the dumb model do it, you'd be like what, I didn't save anything by having the dumb model do it versus the big model, because it's just like it's a snapshot. So
exactly. I think right now there's a lot of like conversations about, oh, we're saving costs, so we're going to switch to the, you know, less expensive models. It's slightly not as smart, but it's really hard to know in advance that with confidence that you don't need the extra intelligence. You know, it's if it's a repetitive task and it's a workflow that you have to do multiple times, like, hey, take this email and label it customer request, customer support, sales call, whatever. Like, you can write an eval for this and use the cheapest possible model. But for code bases, like, do you know in advance how hard the bug is? You know, if it doesn't say in the ticket it's a race condition or something. And,
exactly.
All right, Quinn, how's your application looking?
It says I need a cluster and it's waiting. Let
me see. Make sure you got access to it.
Okay.
You should. Yeah, you're in that cluster. So if you tell it, you should tell it, like, you know, give it the cluster name. The cluster name was AMP demo. Did you tell it to use the skills and all that?
Yeah, it's got the skill.
Okay. So if you tell it to use the AMP demo cluster in the AMP demo org, it should figure itself out then.
Okay, cool. Here, let me share my screen.
Okay.
Here we go. Is that a good size now?
Yeah, looks great.
All right. What's it doing wrong here?
Did it log in? Did it do the login and everything?
Yeah, I got the login. I created my own organization on Miren Cloud before you invited me to another one. So
that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Unless it's like a different, an actual different user. Let me see if I can figure that out real fast.
All right, here. I will auth again here and authorize. There we go. Yeah, no clusters available for your account.
I don't. That's strange. Let's see here.
Oh, actually, I've been logged in and, like, did you invite me as Quinn at slack.org?
I had you click the invite link. So here, let me generate another invite link for you,
Okay.
and then maybe you have a second user. We keep identities separate, and that might be the actual issues here. I'll send you another.
Can I just make a cluster myself?
You have to boot it out. You have to go. We don't have the ability to build a cluster inside Miren Cloud,
Okay.
so you'd have to.
Got it.
If you check your email, there's another invite link for
Okay.
you to go click.
Cool. All right. Got it. Okay. Welcome to the team. All right. Now let's try. So it's the AMP demo organization.
Yep.
There we go. All right. It's going to work. Let's manifest. Good thoughts here.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, let's see.
No.
Oh,
I don't know why. Oh,
Here,
okay.
I'll try to log in again. All right. Oh yeah. So now when I click that link, now I see Quinn@slack.org, my personal email.
Okay.
All right. Come on.
What is the quiet room? This is fascinating.
It's a game I made with my kids and nephews at the pool this weekend.
Oh, nice.
And
were they too loud and you're like, let's see who can win the quiet room game, or what is it?
yeah, it's like, let's play the quiet game.
Yeah, the quiet game. Yeah. Your audio is analyzed locally, never sent to the room.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we're fully GDPR compliant in this app.
Yeah.
It's trying to make you do a login again. I'm not sure why we're getting this. I'm not sure why it's having a problem. One of the things that we okay, yeah, logged in again. Okay, great. Hey, there we go. Okay. Don't worry, it'll figure itself out again. It says non-interactive mode not available. So,
Evan, if I got freaked out when I saw the agent run a command and fail,
oh my God, yeah, I'm definitely telling the wrong person that. Yeah,
I'd be in a different business.
Yeah.
All right, it's printing some IP addresses. I like that. And this is a multiplayer app. When you're saying, like, oh, Thorsten, I wish it was multiplayer, like, yeah, I got you, Evan.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right.
How does it store state?
Or
is it all just in memory?
We spent many weeks designing the state persistence. Fault I think it's just in memory.
Yeah, in a wet swimsuit, you designed the state persistence. Yep.
Yeah.
This is funny that it does like the first 300 lines. It's like, yeah, give me the help output, but I'm just gonna look at the first.
Yeah. That what's funny is we one of the things that we're going to add soon is because the agents are constantly doing Miren deploy pipe to tail, and so I was like, I'm going to write a version of deploy and put it in the skill that's just like -- checklist that just doesn't, it basically just outputs a version that's specifically for the agent, that it doesn't have to tail or anything like that. Because I was like, that's a good example of where, first of all, there's no output, like there's no individual, like you can't see the steps that it would normally get in, because you have to wait till the end. But yeah.
Okay, so what does the deploy command do? Is it actively outputting stuff?
It should be. So the reason that it's having a problem here is because it uses we use package.lock, .json.lock to figure out like if it's npm, and this is saying, oh, this app doesn't have one, and so it's trying to figure out what should I be doing instead. And now it's reading the source code. This is fun. It's actually reading the source for the Miren cluster right now, because that is all open source, and trying to figure out, oh, okay, what do I actually need to do in order to make this work? So this is another.
That's overkill.
It might be. It might be overkill. But it is. I can tell. I'm sure you both have had this happen before. It can be incredibly helpful have the source to the thing that won't work, so that you can go look at the source and figure out, how do I make this thing work? So
Yeah.
Oh, it ran them in parallel, and the librarian was not finished yet.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, because they're all just tools to AMP.
yeah.
All right. Obviously, once you get it set up and
Yeah.
emails, I'm sure that it would be a lot smoother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I already deployed 2 applications,
Yeah.
One and-
I know. You're a 2X
Yeah.
developer.
yeah.
Hey, Evan, while we're waiting
Yeah.
for this, how
Yeah.
do you choose which agent you use for coding?
Well, I play around with a lot of them, right? So like I'm also the kind of person that I can't remember, like, okay, that this is sort of, it's not the same as which text editor you use, right? It's more fungible than that, but it's a little similar in my mind, because when I started using, I've been a Vim user for forever, but I only use about like 10 things inside Vim, right? Like like commands and stuff like that. Like mostly because I just don't have the memory and the muscle memory for knowing them. And so I just would be like, great, I've got my things. Every time I would try something else, I'd be like, oh, I need just these 10 things, but I really need those 10 things. And so I'd have to like kind of work myself through them. I feel like I get that way with the agents a little bit, which is that like I kind of get in a good rhythm for like what I can expect and what the workflow is for them and what I like to see on the output. And so I kind of play around with them. I've been a Claude Code user since the very beginning. I have used AMP on and off since the beginning of AMP. I try out Codex. I try out Pi. I put them through different paces, try to figure out is this one different? What makes it different? What do I like about it? That I haven't experienced working with the other ones. Like, I give you an example. We've been running this. One of the things I love about AMP, and I actually have been meaning to try this out since I got back from vacation, is this portal view. Because one of the things that when we're working on Miren Cloud, and we've got the dev server and we're working on stuff, lots of times we will basically generate this big thing and we'll be like, you know what? It looks good. This is fine. Like, this is the smallest little thing.
Yeah.
I don't need to figure this all out. And so we would basically just deploy it and then go look at it in production. I have been like, oh, I really love the ability to like just show it to me right here while I'm working on it. And so those kinds of capabilities are, I think, the ones that are most interesting, because a lot of them, they've got sub agents, they've got they've got tools, they've got all that kinds of stuff. And so a lot of them have added similar sorts of things, and so it becomes a question of like, well, like, what is the differentiator in this? Is it like Pi is really designed for like, oh, you can customize the heck out of it, right? Is that what I want? Is that what I need for either just for my own psyche or for the workload or whatever? So, all right, great, this is cool.
Yeah,
I'm in it. Why aren't you in it?
Are we gonna?
First name.
Where do you see the? Oh,
I see Thorsten.
I'm coming in.
All right,
loud.
come on.
Hush multiplayer. Is that what it's called?
Yep. That's right.
This might be the worst game to play on a call
I'm in.
which we want to record. Now we have to be like,
all right, you guys ready?
Yeah,
You ready?
I think so.
Okay. We have to do 5-second quiet periods. Yeah, it's the weirdest game to play on.
I love it.
Okay, ready?
I love it.
Guys,
Yeah.
you gotta be quiet. Okay. Shh. Nice.
No.
What? Hey, you guys are better than the kids at the pool.
Yeah. And then
can you keep quiet for 5 seconds? We can do it once.
Thorsten, you're the one talking. It says you just are the one talking. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, come on. This is we had so you actually go back to 1, like you cannot build up.
It's very punitive.
Yep.
It's crazy. I do like the slogan a lot. Think you can keep it down. Like that's
Do you think is the
really
mystery
good.
prize popsicles? Because if the mystery prize isn't popsicles, then
Yeah.
I don't know what is.
It's really good. Copyright hush, quietly made with care.
All right.
Amazing. All right,
John
good
Carmack, you
stuff.
couldn't build a game this good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
all
this
right,
is
well,
if you had a John Carmack with the button, what would you do?
yeah.
Yeah.
This has been amazing. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate all your time, and this is super fun. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy coding. See you.